Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here, and today we are discussing the one, the only, the Tier 10 Soviet large cruiser, the Stalingrad. Man, the Stalingrad. This was one of the original super quote-unquote cruisers back in the day. You see these big Tier 9 and Tier 10 cruisers that have, smaller battleship caliber guns, battleship levels of HP, and armor that's better than cruisers but not quite to the level of battleships. Stalingrad is one of the original two. The other one being the Kronstadt, the Tier 9 Soviet cruiser. But of course, times have changed, and there's been quite a few new, again, quote-unquote, super cruisers added to the game. And we even have actual super cruisers now, of course, with, ships like the Conde and the Clausewitz, so forth, and so on. But we're not talking about those. We're talking about the Stalingrad today. She is a Tier 10 steel ship and is, in my opinion, one of the definite first about 3 steel ships you should pick up. Along with the Burgon, the Stalingrad, and like the Satsuma. Why the Satsuma? Because it's a goofy ship in my mind. But yes, Stalingrad is a very mighty ship. And while she certainly isn't, too unique anymore, she's still pretty dang impressive. So, Stalingrad today is being driven by Comrade Balance, what I think his name was supposed to be, but apparently he ran out of space to fit the rest of his name in the little space where you type your name in. But I mean, hey, appropriate name for a guy playing Stalingrad. And he's over here hovering over where normally the A cap is at on this cap, or the C cap. I think it's the A cap over here, whatever. He's waiting for, I assume, the ships that normally try to push up around these islands to show him their broadside. Looks like he's not too sure on what to do here. Ah, there we go. There's the Rhode Island. You see, what the Stalingrad definitely has going for it is, of course, the Soviet shell ballistics with the 300, what are these, 305, 310 millimeter guns? 305 millimeter guns. So, there they go. So, the Soviet shells, they have very, very nice air drag coefficients, which means they carry their penetrating power at range much better than other shells do, because, well, they kind of just zip on through the air. I don't know if NVIDIA filtered that little sound effect I did out or not, but they zip on through the air without having to worry about the air. They just ignore that. And that means at range, you still get pretty good pins. I was hoping you would pin that Colombo there to help me prove my point. So, that means, at further ranges, the Stalingrad, it still slaps the absolute crap out of other ships, whereas other shells would kind of just, lose a lot of their penetrating power. But the Stalingrad and other Soviet ships have all of that going for them. Gets a couple of shots there to the Colombo superstructure for a cool 6k. He's got somebody lobbing some AP at him from, I believe, the other side of that island that the Salem is sitting on. It could be the Salem throwing some AP at him, but I haven't seen where the Salem shots are going. Be kind of odd. Yeah, I think it's actually the Des Moines. That looks more appropriate. Is this a range mod Des Moines we have here, fellas? Very odd that he's throwing AP at him and not HE, but okay, Des Moines. Alright, so he's still on this Colombo, seeing if his shells are going to land. Gets a couple of pins there on the Colombo. There's a Salem in the normal Salem spot, hugging the island, Salem/Des Moines spot. And if you notice, the Des Moines at the other Des Moines/Salem spot, hugging that island, covering what would normally be the cap area with their radar. But no cap there, but does certainly have some buffs there that the enemy ships could pick up. Or the friendly ships could pick up. I think that's what they're trying to prevent. Looks like Balance is backing up, trying to get enough range to where his shells can plunge behind that island and hit the Salem. That is, of course, the downside of these Soviet shells as well. They have some very, very flat arcs. So in situations like this, where you're trying to lob your shells up and over and behind an island, obviously the Soviet shells aren't all that great for that. I mean, look, he's got to get 15 kilometers away to maybe have a chance of hitting the Salem here. Can he? Oh, no, still not quite far enough back. You'd probably have to be like the 17s or 18s in order for that to happen. Situation. We're at the 5-minute mark and nobody's dead yet. That is super rare for today's... Oh, never mind. There we go. The other Stalingrad gets taken out by the Yami. Oh, he is finally far enough back to where he can finally clip that Salem superstructure with his Stalingrad guns. There's a broadside Moskva on the back, but it is unfortunately out of his Stalin's range. Alright, couple more salvos out on the Salem. Let's see what these do. These superstructure hits. Ooh, no, unfortunately he whiffs those. Oh, there's a Hoffman in this match. He just torpedoed an enemy Petropavlos. Look at that. So 1-1 so far for the teams in terms of kill counts. Pretty even match so far. Both teams also have a single instance of the healing buff. Looks like they are both going to pick up another instance of the healing buff, with a friendly and an enemy Des Moines in their respective healing buff circles, waiting for that to drop. So again, looks like a pretty even match so far. Not much has happened. Again, very rare. Besides, each side losing a cruiser. It's pretty convenient. It looks like Balance is moving back up into the fray. Salem has scooted out from behind his island a little bit. That looks like some pretty good dispersion there, and unfortunately he hits the Salem's nose. Most of that bounces. A couple shells go into the superstructure and overpin. Also, another thing too about the Stalingrad shells is that it actually has a short fuse time, but the pins are so good that it doesn't really matter. However, that does mean when you're dealing with light cruisers, your shells will more often than not actually pin inside of the cruiser and, citadel them rather than overpin like a lot of other larger caliber ships do when it comes to dealing with broadside light cruisers. That's another nice pickup for the Stalingrad. Stalingrad also has some amazing armor from the bowman for a cruiser. Can't exactly battle tank, to the levels of a battleship, but she can tank far better than any other cruiser can, along with having, literally like, tier 9 battleship HP there with 72,000 HP. Broadside Amagi here is getting his third turret into action, which can be risky, because the Stalingrad, like many a Soviet large ship, has absolutely terrible side armor. Oh, look at that. A lovely 9,000 damage there to that Amagi. And most of that was overpins too. If he aims a little bit lower, biting to that belt armor on the Amagi, he could probably find some bigger numbers there. Already the key area is about to appear, and the friendly team is starting to lose ships faster than the enemy team. They're now down 2 cruisers and a single destroyer, while Balance is radared by, I'm assuming, the Des Moines or the Salem. I guess it has to be the Salem if he's... Oh, yeah, there you go. Counters the radar with his own Soviet long-range radar, catches a broadside Colombo here, and... Oh, no citadels, but 5 pins for 15,000 damage. It's a lovely roll there. Colombo, completely caught with his pants down, decides to just keep sailing in a straight line in front of a Stalingrad. That is not very good for your long-term survivability. And as Balance plays with the camera, he peels another 10,000 damage off of the Colombo. Moskva's pushing up to hug that island where the Salem just was for some reason. You'd think, seeing the Salem perish in that location would dissuade the Moskva from pushing up there, but apparently not. 3 more good pins on the Colombo. Brings him up to 66,000 total damage so far this match. Colombo's still stuck selling broadside because now he has an island to his right. This could be a dead Colombo here, fellas, if RNG is... Oh yeah, this is a dead Colombo here. There we go. Balance takes out the Colombo for his first kill of the match. Rhode Island is now sailing... Oh, don't do it. Don't do it, Rhode Island. You just saw the man get absolutely murdered. He is. Oh, he's trying to stop, but I think it's too late for him. And there we go. 19k with a Citadel hit with the Rhode Island. The Rhode Island is trying to stop and back up, but unfortunately it is a battleship. There's a lot of mass to stop, and it's not going so well for him. However, fortunately for the Rhode Island, Balance has unfortunately sailed into the island and now has it blocking his shots at the Rhode Island. He has thrown it into reverse, but while he's waiting here for his ship to go in reverse, takes a shot at the Amagi out there. And let's see. He does also have, oh man, I can't remember the unique Soviet commander's name at the moment, but he does have him, so he does have his Will to Victory talent ready to go if he does fall below 10% HP. Okay, Minotaur is pushing the Moskva. Very bold strategy from the Minotaur. And it does... it actually works. Okay, look at that. Minotaur torpedoes the Moskva, but now that Amagi has a very juicy Minotaur to shoot, as does the Rhode Island. Well, actually, the Minotaur might get the Rhode Island too here in a second. And he does... Was that a double strike? Unfortunately, not a double strike for the Minotaur. But he is still alive somehow, so there you go. I guess the Amagi just didn't want to take a shot at him, or he was probably reloading. I think the Amagi did just shoot, and the Minotaur, will he live? Will he live? Looks like he will live, fellas. There we go. Okay, cool. Minotaur made a move, and it played out for him. Alright, friendly team is now pushing into the key area. If they do take that key area, that is going to be a nice pickup for the friendly team in terms of points. However, it does look like the enemy team has won the trade out east, and you've got 2 Yammies, a Goliath, and a Trump that have free reign out east. We'll see what that does to the match as it goes on. The Trump has gone into the, well, it's normally the Thunderdome. Oh, here's a Des Moines 8 kilometers away. Is he going to sell out in front of a Stalingrad? He very well may, because he thinks there's a juicy Minotaur waiting for him there if he pursues it. But there's not a juicy Minotaur, there's only a fist. A fist made out of Stalinium. And, oh, no Dev Strike on the Des Moines, but the Amagi does actually take out the Minotaur this time. And Balance takes the Des Moines down to 9k HP. The Des Moines being saved by that island that he got stuck on, but unfortunately, it's also going to be his doom, methinks. And there we go, dead Des Moines for Balance's second kill of the match. So the friendly team has more points and more buffs at this moment, but the enemy team is doing a pretty good job of trading their ships for the green team's ships. So this is potentially going to be a pretty close game from what we've seen at the moment. Although the green team is about to capture the capture points, which will, of course, again, bring in an insane amount of points for them. 10 points a second. Broadside Goliath from 19 kilometers away, but unfortunately, there's a pesky island in between Balance and his Goliath snack. There's also a broadside Yami, and the Stalin could probably pin the Yami from this range, given the power of Soviet bias. Alright, takes a shot at the Goliath, and it's looking pretty decent. 3 pins for 9,500 damage. Pretty good roll. Alright, so, man, that Yami, I would be God. But, I mean, the Yami and the Des Moines, and the Goliath are both very tasty targets indeed. Alright, another salvo out at the Goliath. Shall he get some Citadels this time? Survey says, yes indeed. 12,000 damage and knocking out his engine module for good measure. Yami taking out the friendly Des Moines. The green team is now down on ships, but I believe Balance is about to help them out there. Essex laying down a smoke screen for Balance while the gesture is nice. That does mean that Balance can't spot anything if his friendlies go down. There goes the Goliath for his 3rd kill of the match. Broadside Yami now from 18 kilometers away. The Des Moines shells, the Goliath shells, they act like Des Moines shells, that's why I call them Des Moines shells, finally arrive to Balance's Stalingrad. A couple shots on a broadside Yami here. The Amagi is turning around to join with his teammates around the island at H6 for some reason. Popular island. The Essex is there. Both of the Yamis are there. The Amagis don't go in there. The only one that's not there is the Trump. I guess he's the stick in the mud that doesn't want to join the camping party behind the island. Well, Trump's probably having a party with himself with his airstrikes, though, on the Conqueror. Yep, he is. Look, there goes the Conqueror's HP. Yemi takes out the Conqueror. I mean, the red team is camping, but, I mean, it's working for the time being. They just took out the friendly Conqueror, who's also a div mate of Balance. 5,400 damage there to the Yami. So, this isn't looking too favorable. I mean, they might get the A-cap, but these Yamis are doing a good job of focusing fire on the ships and the A-cap. Okay, on the Yami there, 4,747 damage from a singular pin. Magi getting shots out on this Trump as well. Here come the enemy Essex planes. Trump's getting his guns in on the action as well. Okay, this should be a dead Yami here, and it is. Alright, that brings Balance up to 4 kills at 174,000 damage thus far. Here come the Trump bombers on the Amagi. Nicks him there. Does it start a fire? Does start a fire on the Amagi's deck. And he's also getting his guns in on the action. I mean, they don't have anyone that can shoot the Trump right now, so Trump is just absolutely doing the correct thing, which is trying to sink the Amagi fast, who just got bombed by the enemy Essex for a good chunk of his HP. And he's going to go down here too, it looks like. Decent hit on the Yami there as well. How the tides have turned. So now we've got Balance with his Stalingrad We've got a friendly Vermont that's taking the long way around to get those flanking shots on the Yami and friends. Then we have a friendly Essex against 2 Yamis and a Trump. And there's Confederate for balance. Now he has to try to face tank a Yami, which, oof, while Stalin's armor is pretty good, it can still very much get overmatched by the Yami's 18.1-inch guns. There you go, I told you guys it can do it. Citadel on the Yami from range. Can he do it again? Probably so. Just get those shells to go right where that cheek is at. The Yami's trying to speed up, trying to angle into those Soviet shells. Will it work? Oof, got it just in time. Alright, Essex is going after the Amagi. It's a pretty good call. He's pretty low. And given, well, I mean, Japanese AA across the board isn't fantastic, right? So that would be the one that the Essex could very much take on. The Trump, though, you gotta keep your eyes on that Trump. He looks like he's going for the friendly. There you go again! Settling the angled Yami at that point. The Trump is probably going for the Essex, so that might be a situation here in a moment. Alright, can he citadel the Yami again through the cheek? And, ooh, unfortunately, no. The Yami has angled in a little bit more. Uses his damage con to get his turret back up and running. Vermont throwing some AP into his superstructure, chunking him a little bit there through the superstructure overpins. And more citadels? No, but another 7,200 damage off of the Yami. Turret number 2 gets back in action. There's a Trump coming up behind balance. There we go. A citadel to sink the Yami. Ooh, that could have been much worse. That is his 5th kill of the match, and that is Kraken Unleashed for balance. Gets his forward guns off on the Amagi. Now up here come the Trump airstrikes, popping a DFAA and focusing his A on that side. Sinks the Amagi for his 6th kill of the game. Has HE loading in the tubes for the Trump. Manages to dodge the last set of Trump's aircraft. Essex is getting in on the party too with the Trump. And now the Trump is opening up on balance. Balance is fairly low, 27,000 HP left. But he does have a heal coming up now that he just popped. Damage con is still running. Now it is himself versus a Trump. And, well, an Essex is going to be third-partying this as well. He has HE loaded in the tubes, which, you know, the Soviet shells, well, the ballistics are still very much the same on the HE, so they are very fast and easy to aim, especially against destroyers, and the flat arcs make that even easier. So the issue is, if this Trump does manage to get his airstrikes back up and absolutely just sets the Stalingrad ablaze from stem to stern, that obviously will be an issue, because Stalingrad does have battleship burn time, but I don't know. He's of course now red-eyeing the Essex, because of course when you're facing a Stalin that's at half health, you're gonna stop what you're doing, and now you're gonna just farm the Essex out. What? Why? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, like, I guess you might be able to murder the Essex faster, but like, I mean, like, the Stalin's actively shooting you. I guess, you know, a CV hurt him in a past life, and he just, you know, wants to make all CVs burn. Alright, let's see. Balance should be able to get him here. This might be his 7th kill of the match if he secures the kill here, which he does. 7 kills, fellas. 200, and I can't see the final score because of the fire badge. 269, nice. 1,654 damage done. And all the achievements: General Offensive, Confederate, Strike Team, Dreadnought, Kraken Unleashed, the Division Kraken, Coordinated Attack, and High Caliber, with a whopping 3,400 base XP game in the Stalingrad, driven by a man by the name of Comrade Balance. You got to love it. So Balance, thank you so much for sending that into the channel. Stalingrad still got it in the year of our Lord 2024. That is for sure, ladies and gentlemen. So if you have a replay that's of a good match, an entertaining match like this, you can send it into the link in the description down below, or you can submit it in the replay submission channel in the community Discord. Link to that is also down below. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, wonderful rest of your week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.